So in the last session, we have checked the recording, right? How JMeter is capturing the APIs and how to check it, whether browser or HTML page. And if you are not able to find whatever recorded, again we have to check whether what could be the mistakes. So generally, then the JMeter when you record in the application, the first thing could be correlation, right? So first we have to do correlation, and we have to replay the existing records, and we'll check each API, whatever that. Okay. So let's see from the start again. So file, templates, recording, create. Okay, create.
Ravi, here I have one question. Do we need to give our website link here, host to record?
If you want, you can give here. Otherwise, no, it's not an issue. You can update it later.
Okay.
Okay. Suppose whatever the website you are giving that, you can give here. Otherwise, you can leave it as it is.
Okay.
Okay. So actually, I reinstalled JMeter. Okay. So otherwise, see the host will come here, whatever given, right? This will come here, so that you can use in the APIs. Okay. So let's go to recorder. So we'll give any port number. Let's give 555. And the reference connection, we'll put a thread group. Okay. And the grouping, we will give separators. Okay. And click on start. Okay, let's open Firefox.
Settings.
Yeah, settings. Proxy. Okay, manual proxy, localhost 555, and check this box.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing I will do to home page. So I will give a home page here. So then I'll click on login. So I'll give login page. So we are in login page, right? So we'll enter credentials. I mean, all this page will come to login page session. Okay. So now we'll click on product page. And click on add to cart. Again, just click on again add. Okay, so now we're updating quantity, no? So we'll update quantity place. So let's give 5. Update. Okay, it's not working. So let's click on checkout. So in this way, you will know which pages or which endpoint belong to which one.
Okay.
So that you can track easily. Okay, so these fields are won't work. So we'll simply click on log out. Okay, click on log out. Okay. Okay, let's stop the recording. Okay, that's right. See, as we mentioned, recording this browser, right? If we want to do anything, we can't do. I mean, because proxy is on. So what we'll do now? One browser will use to debug, other browser for the recording, so that you can do parallel things. Otherwise, you don't have to switch on off on proxy. Okay. Yeah. So now let's see whatever we recorded. See, it captured everything. Home page, login page, fraud page, add to cart, update quantity, checkout, logout. Okay. So let's save this.
Second column.
Yeah.
Third one.
Okay, the current. So now what is the next step? We need to check the whether any external servers recorded or not. So in the server name IP. So all should be your application server name. Okay. Now let's save. Now go to your registry and run. Okay, in the view registry, this is a place only we will get to know whatever your script output. Okay, so yeah, so these are the output APIs.
Okay.
Right. So this is which you record on a thread group, and this is what it requires output of the replay. So just click on home page, and so currently as we are new to tool, right? So we won't understand things. So we'll check only your API request API and your response. Okay. So by default, as you're dealing with your application, the default response would be in this shape only, HTML. So to make sure whether whatever we capture correct or not, we should make it to browser or HTML. Okay, so this is what we expected. Correct. So your home page is ready, your login page is also ready, and your login is 28, and this is a giving error. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we discussed our sessions, right? About why and what. Right. So by default, 99% of the application when you record with JMeter, you have to do correlation. That's compulsory. Okay. So now let's check how to do this. So what we discovered on the day, whenever the request which is failed, right, we have to check the under thread group, and we will pick up which value is causing this error. Okay, so username and password we are sending, and this dynamic value we are not sending. So this is a due to this value we are getting that error. Okay, so let's copy this, and we need to find the pattern, because this is a generated by server, not by us, right? End user. If end user is generating, then we'll give manually. Right. So how to check this value? So server generated values will be in the response. So when you go to VRStree, in the VRStree, we'll see the responses, right? So now we got the error 28. So you have to check response of all these preceding requests. Okay. Right now we have how many preceding requests? We have 2 only, right? Before this error. So we have to check the 2 responses. If you have 5, you have to check the 5.
Okay.
Okay. It's always advisable to check, like suppose you're getting error 28, right? The mostly the value will be found in before 2 or 3 requests. Okay, so we'll check. Let's see. And how to check the value? If you check with this value, right, we can't find it because it's an old value. So we'll check with this name. If you are not able to find the value of the name, then we need to check with the pattern. Okay, so let's copy the session ID. Go to registry. First one, response body. So it can't find because it is like this way. So you have to change it to text. Okay. So it's not there, and here we should check. So you found the value. Generally, 80% of the times you will find the response body.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you are not able to find response body, then you should check in the response items. Okay, and you have 5 APIs. You checked all the 5 responses and still didn't find. So then you check response by responses. Then it could be some UI logic, or could be some UI functionality. Because JMeter will capture only server side APIs, correct? So if UI is doing that correlation right now, we need to check with the developer and how it is generating. Then we have to implement same logic here through coding. Yeah. Mostly we'll find the response, but if we are not able to find the response.
Okay.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. So now we know that this value which we desired value, right? The left and right side fixed. On the we on, right? So what we do, we write a simple global expression which dot plus question mark. Whenever your left side of the value and right side of the value is fixed, we'll go with that expression. Okay. So let's copy this whole line till this one. Okay. So this is which we require, right?
Mm.
So what I will do now? So I'll just copy to this. Okay, the left side of the value. Okay. So now we need a place to test, right? Whether whatever writing. So we have a regular expression tester. Okay.
Okay.
This is a place to help us to testing directly. Otherwise, we need to copy the response to somewhere and we have to write expression there and test it.
Mm-hmm.
So you will suggest to here to write whatever the expression you want. Okay. And now update your desired value with dot plus question mark. And what is the value here? After this one, this is a value. So let's copy till this point and put. Okay. Now test. How many matches you got? We got one match. And it says, you see, 1 of 0 is nothing but the whole line whatever given with the updating value in the response. We simply replace the required value with the dot plus question mark. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where value. And 1 of 1 is a where which we'll pick value which we needed for us.
Mm.
Okay. So now we got one much because this expression like this is there was only one line here.
Mm.
Okay. Suppose let's say remove these things. Okay. Now let's see how many values. So now we have two matches. Because this expression could be anywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you add more left, more right, you will get a lot of matches. But
Yeah.
we have to finalize the expression which you should get match count as 1.
Mm.
Okay. So earlier one is giving match 1, right? So let's put 1. Okay.
Mm.
Match number. Okay. Just a minute.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah. Okay. So whatever you write the expression doesn't matter whether this is proper or not. You should always get match count 1.
Okay.
You can include left side, right side, doesn't matter. You should get match count 1. At some times, whatever the expression you write, you will get at least 2 matches. So in that case, we'll pick up one which you required. Okay, but make sure try to get a right expression as they should get match count 1. It's clear, right? So whatever the value required, we'll simply replace with dot plus question mark. Okay. So now this is our final expression.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Because you got match count 1 and make sure in our match 1 of 100, there is no extra comma, full stop of this value because this is what we required.
Okay.
Okay. So now once you're done with, so you need to copy this expression. This is finalized expression, right?
Yeah.
So now, so we found this value here, no? So we need to extract from that API only, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go to 25. This is where we found, right? 25. So
20.
right click 25, add post processor regular expression extractor.
Okay.
Because we have written regular expression to pick up the values. So now we'll use this extractor to pick up it.
Okay.
Okay. So from where the API which you found the response, right? From that API you will add it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Post processor regular expression extractor. So as of now, just remember regular expression extractor. We'll know how we are adding this component, everything.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Regular expression. See now once you click on add it, it came here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And here this is you can see regular expression extractor. So this will help us to pick up the value. Okay. In the name of regular expression, just paste it. Regular expression. This is what we finalized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you should make sure how to write expression. That's the first important thing. Then second thing is from where you are getting the value.
Okay.
That's next important. Got it right? So this extractor will help us to pick up it. So now, what does it mean? So JMeter will pick up this based on the expression, it will pick up the value. So we need to use that value, right? The output of this expression.
Yeah.
So we should store somewhere, correct?
Yeah.
So that's where name of the created variable. You can give any name to identify it. So I will give session token. Any name, whatever the name A, B, C, any name you should identify. Because if you have big application, you have 4 or 5 actors, no, you'll get confused. So make sure whatever the ID you are giving is give proper name to that.
Okay.
Okay, so what does it mean? So JMeter in the runtime, it will pick up the value based on this expression and store in this value. Okay, and where we are finding this value, we are finding the body, right? So now we will select field to check body.
Okay.
Sometimes I told you if you find a header, then you have to put response header.
Okay.
So wherever complete in JMeter, right, you can select any of the option to pick up the value. Okay, next template. So template is nothing but the group. So this is one group. Okay, so just by default, put a $1. I will explain later of the class, extra things. Okay, by default, put $1. So how many matches we got? We got only man match because we had proper expression. So we'll give a match number 1.
Okay.
So I told you, right, if sometimes you are getting still more than one match, so even the whatever, right? So at that time, what you will do, you'll put a match number. Which one you want to pick up? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if you put a 2 here, the output from the output, it will pick up second match. Okay, and default value. Okay. Default value means if this expression doesn't work or if application has failed, so it will can't load the data, right? If application has failed, something happened. So then you can put this default value will go there. So I will simply write not found. Okay. You can write anything to identify it, script. Whenever you see the data not found means okay, that expression or didn't work or the application failed, something kind of. Okay. So what we do, we just added extractor and we just added extractor and we placed the expression here and we just given the name and default we'll put $1 and match number 1. And if something expression doesn't work or if application failed, then what should be pop up? Not found. Okay. Okay. Now, so now we are having this value. Now we need to pass this value, right? Wherever it required. So just to copy this value and wherever required, this is a place where, right, in required. Yeah. So just update, remove this value and pass this format dollar curly brace value. So in JMeter, whenever you want to pass the variable means variable has some value inside it, right? If you want to use that inside the value of the variable, you should use this format dollar curly braces. Okay, anywhere in JMeter. Suppose you store in the CSV, store from the code, you store anywhere. If the variable you are storing a value and you want to pass that value, then you have to use dollar curly braces. Okay. Okay. If I put simply session token here, then it will take this as a string. It's not inside the value of it. Got it right? So whenever you want to take inside the value, then you have to do that one. Okay. Now let's see. So now we resolve that issue. Why? Because we are picking the runtime and you are passing in the runtime here. So similarly, wherever it required throughout the script, right? We need to do this. So in our case, we checked only 28 and we are doing this. Okay, let's see. It's clear and run. And change it to text. So let's say, so in the 28, right? We are passing the session token. Correct. So let's check how it was there in the request tab. The request tab, see, now value is getting populated. We have given $session T, right? But you see here the value. It means it is populated. 28, if you check on, we passing this one.
Yes, yes.
But whereas in the whatever sent server, the value got updated. Okay. So now if I copy this, if I check in the 25th response, it should be there, right?
It should be matched now.
It should be matched, na? So 28, let's copy value. Control C. 25th, because 25th where we had an extractor, no? Response. Fine. See, we got the value. It means it properly correlation has done.
Okay.
So now let's check our view, whether we should rid of error or not. See, let's click 25. So now we got login page, login. Okay. Do we get any error, session ID mismatch? No, right? Because we correlated a proper value, server accepted it, then the server sent the response. So now check the next one. So now we see login happened. Welcome Ravi to log out because login is done. Because the correlation has passed successfully. If without correlation, your application won't log in and you can't able to see this login page or welcome user kind of. Correct? Yeah. So now let's check what is next one. Because see, once we resolve this error, then only we should go to next APS. If it is non-dependent, then it will work fine. But if it is dependent, because then it's like a hectic. So we resolve one error and one API at one time, then we'll go to next one.
Okay.
Next product page. So that's why it's displaying product page. This is fine. And add to cart. So first time it will show empty, and second time it's showing the data and updating the data. It's not working, but let it be. And checkout page. So value got updated. Checkout here 5 and log out.
Okay.
So your script is done.
Okay.
And save it. So this is like sample application. That's why it's very quicker. But in the real time, we'll have a lot of scenarios. It's not like simple. So we have to implement a lot of user actions.
Yeah.
Whatever user is doing on the application, we should also do with JMeter to achieve that. Okay. But as of now, simple one, this is a basic. Simply we recorded, we did a correlation, we replayed and checked whether whatever record or not. So done. So once our scripting done, then we'll go to our thread group component where it will take care of our data. I mean, the load modeling. The load modeling start from here.
Okay.
So first thing is scripting. Whether whatever the concept is, load modeling is, scripting is should be finalized first. Then we'll go to load modeling. I mean, how many users want to run, what type of load you want to run. So then once our load modeling is done, then we'll execute. Once we'll execute, then we'll get a report, then we'll do analysis. And we'll share the reports. So this is the flow. So in our classes, right, is JMeter like 60-70% spending with JMeter only. If once our script is ready, simple update the number and run
it. Number of threads. Okay.
Yeah, simply just do 10, 20, 100, and then that's it.
Okay.
Okay, it's clear, right? Regarding correlation, because these are basics for any application for any JMeter.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now we understood this is a what we are sending, right? The HTTP request. This is called sampler.
Okay.
And you understood the recorder. And we also understood this is a component that help us to view the results. So same as like we have a lot of components, no? So it's very difficult to remember it. Each and every in the starting. Once you have practice, once you have good experience, then you can able to do that. So how to easily remember the things, or how to identify the components, or how to suppose you got any new requirements, how to do in JMeter. So there could be some process, right? So for that, now we learn the components in JMeter. So that you can easily identify, or if someone asks you, okay, where you will add this, then you don't have to search, right? You simply tell, okay, it will be under this, it will be under this, like that. Okay, let's see. Then we'll go to the next component, so that it will always easier. Suppose I say wheel history, recorder, this one, you can't understand.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to components. Okay, so yeah, I told you initially the API is the backend. The API which translate the data from your UI to servers, which we have request and response, correct?
Hmm.
So this API is the right now whatever we shown is a REST API.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, same as like REST API, we have SOAP, we have WebSockets. Okay, but these are the like Citrix, we have like GraphQL, like a lot of protocols are there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times, JMeter deals with REST APIs only. Like the application is the more comfortable with the REST API. Okay, so irrespective of the REST or SOAP or whatever, no. If I ask you what type of protocols JMeter will support, so where you'll check, you have 100 components JMeter, so you don't know, right? Where to check that. So yeah, so remember always sampler is a component where deal with the protocols. Sampler, sampler nothing but API, where it will have this component has all the APIs. So what are the APIs JMeter supporting, you can check in the sampler component.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. So let's see how we do. Let's go to thread group, right click on, add sampler. So in JMeter, anything is right click on add on. It's not like drag and drop or pop up. Right click, add. See now this is sampler where this is all the protocols is JMeter supporting. Okay, JDBC is for database, JMS, Java, LADP, mails, OS. Okay, which is like Bean Shell, FTP, file transfer, GraphQL, all things it support. SOAP will come under, if I add plugins, right? SOAP will come. So WebSockets and SOAP will come plugins. So now, you know, right now sampler. Sampler is the one which helps us to add a component. Right now, whatever we recorded, everything is come under HTTP request. See, so this is a main which we'll do. HTTP request, which is under sampler.
Okay.
It's clear, right? Right. Next. Next is a test plan. Test plan. Test plan, this is only one component is available in JMeter. Everything will undercome the test plan only. For one instance, you will see only one test plan. Whatever the components, everything will come under this plan. So test plan is the root of the element. Okay. So whenever you open JMeter, you will see like this. This is a test plan. Next. Next important is the thread group. Thread group is like a load generator. Whatever you written in the script, right? This will help us to load it.
Okay.
Okay. So thread group you will see like this. So on the test plan, right click, add. You will see first thing is threads, and you will see thread group. Okay. Because whenever you open JMeter, right, it will see test plan only. Without the test plan, you can't do right click add. Okay. So one test plan, you can have multiple thread groups. This is one thread group, right? Under this is one thread, we have a whole script. So now I can have another thread group.
Yeah.
Add thread group. One more thread group. So in JMeter, thread groups are independent of each other. They won't communicate, they won't talk. It's like a single different script only.
Okay.
Okay. So based on your use case requirement, you can give one thread group per script or two, both. It's your choice.
Okay.
Generally, we'll do one thread group or one JMX file to identify it easily. But again, it's based on the end user choice. Okay. So now simply we see in main test plan, thread group, sampler. Okay. And if you observe, if I right click on test plan, see, I can't see the sampler here. Whereas if I right click on thread group, add, I can see sampler. Because if I add sample in the test plan, right, I can't put the load. How I'll put the load? Because thread group is the component which helps us to put the load. That's why sampler will always available for thread group, not test plan. Okay. And JMeter is completely dependent on these 9 components. Now we learn all this line one by one.
Okay.
It's complete line. If you simply know this 9, then JMeter is done. You should be able to understand like what is sampler, what is control, pre-processor, post-processor, assertion, timer. At least main definitions. So if someone asks, right, where the protocol find, you will go to here and you will check. You don't have to check all these components.
Okay.
Sampler is a where you'll deal with the protocol. Okay. Right. So now we are using VLC tree, right, to check the output. So this component will come. This component will come under listener.
To view results.
Listener will help us to results and reports. Display results and reports. So related to all the components. Suppose you want to generate a graph, or you want to see the output. You want to do anything on the result side. So listener component will help us. Listener is nothing but listening, right? Our script is listening to the listener like that. So right now we have seen VLC tree. So this will come under listeners. Okay, thread group, right loop, add listener. You can see all the components help us to report and graphs. If someone asks how we will check the results, means you will add any one of the component of listener and it will capture the results.
Oh.
Okay, right. So in a manual testing, so how do you know? How do you validate your test cases pass or fail?
By requirement. If
Means
it matched to requirement, then that is then it is passed.
The requirement nothing but your expected result versus actual result. Right. While writing test cases, you will write this should be expected.
Yes.
And while you execute the test case and you will check the output, and if it's actual, both are equal, and your test case pass. Right. So here right now what we seen. So in the regarding the first API, how we compared manually, correct? We opened this and we checked this working or not. So when you're doing with a more number of users, we can't check manually, right? Each API will go and we can't check. If it's 5 or 6, we can do manually. It could be thousands, hundreds, lakhs. So we can't check manually, na? Whether working or failed or passed. So that's where assertion will come. Assertions will help us to validate our scripts. Like it will success, pass or fail. So if you add it, right, automatically it will give the display. So we don't have to check it manually. So I will write here, I'm expecting this page. If it's not there, fail it. If it's there, pass it. Okay. So if you can have doubt, you can see by checking the green color, you will think it's a pass. But see, this green color is giving JMeter by this response code. Generally, response code 200 is for success. 200% success. So JMeter by default will give the green if it is a response code 200. So now if developer is giving 200 for all the use cases, whether wrong, pass, fail, you give 200, JMeter always display green. See, earlier we correlation, there was no correlation and our application has failed. I mean, we didn't get expected output, but still at the time it showed green. Correct? Because even the application failed, developer is giving 200. That's why it's green. So if developers properly handled the application for proper error codes, then we don't have to do assertion because the JMeter itself it will fail it. But you don't write how developer is giving for each and every scenario. We can't depend on that. So that's why we'll write our own assertions. So this green color is came by response code 200. If I hit some other application, if the response is other 200, it is a wrong. It will show as like failed one. Okay. So the assertions. Right. Now, if you observe, if you run from the script, right, it will execute immediately. One by one, very faster. You check it's complete less than 6 seconds. The elapsed time. But in the real time, do user do this much of fast?
No.
No, right? That's a user. It will take some average time, person to person. If it's technical guy, he will do very fast. If it's non-technical guy, he will do a little slow. If it's younger, he will do faster. If it's older, kind of. There's a lot of variants for person to person. So how it happens? Because in a script, if you written like this, and if you put 1 lakh users and 1 lakh will hit this much of speed, and you get a lot of errors. So this is not what you expect in the real time, right? So why we're doing performance testing before, we want to figure the errors, and before deploying to production, we want to resolve that error so that real user won't get that error. That's our goal. Right. So we have to test the real-time scenarios only, not machine malware. See how real user entering the application. We'll take 80% of that and we'll do the load. Suppose it's taking a gap of 5 seconds, right? We'll put a gap of 4 seconds, we'll run the script.
Okay.
Because that's where we are doing real load. So assume that if I put a load in this way, right? In a second, we are making around 1,000 requests. So our server is not expected to bear the load of 1,000 requests in a second because of real-time users. It may handle only 500 only. Got my point, right? So in this way, we have to also create a delay between page to page. How we really is doing. So to create the delay, right, between the request to request, we'll use the timers. Timer component will help us to create a delay between request to request. Understood timers?
Yeah.
This common help us. So let's see. Thread group, right click, add timer. You'll see the this will help us to create the delay between real request to mimic the real user.
Time gap between request to request.
Suppose we were going product page, right? We will go to all the read the documents, I mean description, we'll check images, everything. At the end, there is no server activity. Correct. So real user also will take some time, they will hit it. So in this pattern, the load on server will be not very high. At least there is some gap between page to page. So we also do same way. We should not do load test like 1,000 requests, 200 requests per second without any gap. That's not expected our real behavior.
Okay.
Okay. So to give the delay between user to user, that we call timer.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So now next. So we are doing login, right? So right now, if we check, we have given only one username and password. In 28C, you can see username and password. Suppose if you want to run 1,000 users, all 1,000 will take this user only, name only, no? But in the real time, we have different logins.
Yes.
So some of if the application is based on the cache, right? Like if the same user frequent logged in, they won't do any server action. I mean, they'll take the data from the cache because they'll think that user is frequent logged in. So to avoid this, we need to also pass 1,000 different user logins.
Okay.
So how we'll do that? I can't put here user 1, user 2, and manual. I can't do 1,000, right? That's where we'll use the CSV file. Okay, we'll use the CSV file. So CSV file will maintain all the records there and we'll pass it.
Okay.
So CSV and second thing. So JMeter is not a browser, but we have to mimic what browser is doing. So browser will use the cookies and caching to make user feel as good. So same way we have to also add, right? So CSV, cookie, cache, and headers, like and any settings. Suppose you want to do any settings or configuration file, right? All these components will be available in the config element. Okay. So whenever like in the settings kind of config setting, then it will be in the config elements. Right. So now we use regular expression extractor. Correct. What we did, we extracted the value on the response. So this will available on the post processor. Post was when the post means after, right? After. So once our request is generated, I mean response got once you reach the request, once you got a response from server, then if you want to do anything on the response side, then use a post processor. Okay. Example, regular expression. Same as like if you want to do anything logic, anything coding before sending the request, so then we use a preprocessor.
Okay.
Pre means before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. So now, if you observe, we simply executed the same way, right? But in the real time, some people will go some pages, or some people do login only once and they will hit other things. So a lot of combination would be there, right? Suppose if I run with 100 here, no, 100 all will do these pages. But in the real time, it's not like that. No? Login only one time. Some pages will be more. So some pages will be less. Like suppose if you observe, payment will go everyone. Some like if you take 100 users load, right? So 20 pages will go to the payment. Some 30 will go to the products. Some 20 will go to gift section. So different combination will be there.
Yeah.
So to achieve that, to control that request, right, in that particular manner or particular pattern, we use a logic control.
Okay.
Logic controller. So this will help us to ever control the request, to control our flow. So this is a controller. See, let's take if control means if you have some condition. Suppose if your product is available, then only you should buy. If your product is not available, you could skip it. But at the time of recording, if it is available, it will record. But at the time of replaying, if the product is not available, what happens? J1 doesn't know, right, whether there or not. It will simply execute it. So what happens? J1 will execute it and it will get failed because it's not there. So unnecessary error percentage is increasing. So to control that, we use if controller. We'll put a condition, we'll write some condition, put if the value is there or not. Based on that, then we'll go. Otherwise, we'll skip.
Okay.
Kind of to control the request that we'll use a logic controller. Okay.
Okay.
And next component is a test fragment. Okay, test fragment is nothing but it's like a kind of function. Whenever you want to use repetitive request, I mean, you have login and you have 4 scenarios. And the 4 scenario login is common, right? So if you want to use those times, we use a test fragment. It's like kind of function. Whenever you have repeated things, if you want to use repeated, then use a test fragment. Okay, and these 3 are common. I mean, in the main level, test plan, test fragment, thread group. And these are the which frequent we use. Logic controller, config element, timer, preprocessor, sampler, post-processor, assessment, listener. So JMeter is completely depend on these components only. If you know each and every component of this main components, that's your course is done.
Okay.
Everything is in this place only. Okay. So now let's see. Ignore about the first 3 because they are in root, right? They're compulsory. Now there could be order, right? If because we have this much of components, there is no order, no? How our tool work? There could be some sequence.
Yeah.
So let's take. So your sampler is our main, because this is as a where we are sending a request and getting response. So after sampler, then only listener will execute, because this is a place where we'll see the report output. So it makes sure wherever the listener is. Suppose if I keep results in the top, right, or wherever I keep it, it will execute at the last, because this component help us to give the results. So this execute before, right? You won't get the report. So the same way, listeners will always execute last, but before the sampler, after sampling. Correct? So same way, now can you tell me the order? Just take a 2 minutes of time and just tell me what could be the order. Like suppose I mentioned, right, after sampler only listener will execute.
Okay.
Okay, just tell me based on whatever understanding, just tell me the order from logic controller to listener.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think first one will be timer.
Okay, timer is first, then
Pre-processing.
pre, two, then
Third one will be the input parameters. We can like log in from different users. We can view it from CSV file. Right?
so CSV. Okay.
Not sure.
Hmm.
That may be logic controller. Don't know.
Okay.
Maybe from last.
Hmm?
Samplers will be last.
Sample will be lost.
I'm not sure.
And we have these three, right?
So anyhow, post processor will be last one.
Okay.
After execution, we will see the results.
Hmm. Okay, so let me tell. So first thing is a config, because this is the where before the script, before everything, it will be ready now. It's config. Once based
We
on
have
this
to give
data
that
only.
file.
Sorry.
We have to give that file to JMeter.
No, it's a component. Let me show you. No. We have like how the things in the thread group sampler, same as the config element. So whatever the components available here, no, cache manager, cookie manager, CSV, they will execute first. Okay.
Here I have one question. If I have to give different login IDs, which they should be valid, right, for 100 users. Then how can I generate those valid 100 IDs?
That's where. Otherwise, generally developer will give you. Otherwise, we have, if you have register API. Suppose see, in this application we have sign up API. Upload. If you go to home, see register API is there, right? If you go to register, so I have data. If I do and submit now, it will generate one API. Like let's record it. So you will get API. No, so same data. What I will do, I will put a CSV file and put 1,000 data here or 100 data and load the CSV and run the Zamet script. So it will create the 100 users.
But in the real time, okay. No, but in the real time, I can give, I know only my ID, right? Valid one.
See, no, we are registering. Suppose you are a tester. Let's take this your application tester, and you have they are given one login for you. Okay, so if suppose your web application has a registration page, so or sign up page, you will do this one, the name, mobile, and then dummy data. All will give the dummy data. Okay, so once you record for one user, then you will have API and you will script here like this. Suppose like here we seen, right, username, password. Same way you will see all the data here. All right. So then now we'll create a CSV file which mimics all the 100 user data, like user 1, user 2, user 3, user 200, address 1, address 2, address 3, email 1, email 2, email 3, kind of. In the CSV will prepare. And we load the CSV here and we'll run as 100. So it will create 100 users. Got it?
No.
See, if you do one time, it will create one user, right?
I don't have registration page. Then what is the case?
That's right. The second case, if you don't have, right, what do generally do? Developers will create a user from the database.
Okay.
In generally, if you don't have registration page, they will create the user.
They will have data, user ID, password.
Sorry?
Yeah, usually they will have all the data about the credentials, everything.
So what? No, if we don't have a privilege or we don't have access, no, we'll ask developer to create the load at the data. Okay. So they will create from the database or their scripts from their code, no, because they have control, right, over the code, over the logins. So they will give 100 of data to you, and you will load that and we'll test it. Okay. So that's a developer responsibility. Okay. Otherwise, if you are allowed to do load like you have sign up page here, so you can do a scripting. Zamet scripting only, you will capture the API and you will run for 100 times. It will get 100 users. Okay. Right. Got it. No. Yeah. So config is the first, because before the everything config will load. So and come to last. Last will execute is a listener. Because whatever you do, everything, no logic, post, assertion. So this should be, so this is the last one. Okay. So once you execute the sampler, right, you will get the response. So after sampler, post parser will execute, because this post parser depend on the response only. And this post parser, assertion will execute, because assertion is like your pass or fail, right? So based on this condition, whatever written here, it could be dependency, right? So after sampler, this post parser, then assertion, then listener. So these four are this order. Okay. Once you execute a sample, you get a response. Based on the response, post parser will do. Once you do regular expression or whatever, then assertion will make it fast effect. Then it will display all this in listener. So before sampler, timer will execute. Okay. Then before the timer, preprocessor will execute. So remember, before sampler, always timer will execute. This is one of the interview question. Important one. Whenever there is sampler and timer in the same place, right? Timer will execute, then sampler. Okay. And these are the main components. This test plan, test fragment, thread group, logic controller, right? The logic controller always execute first. So then config element. Okay. Then preprocessor. Then timer. And sampler. Next one. Post processor. Assertion. And listener. Why this order is very important, right? Because whenever most complex scenario, you have a lot of components in one place. So if you don't know which one execute first, right, you can't write the logic there. Correct. So you should always know this order, so that you will write exactly, okay, this form will execute first. So let's be in this logic. So okay, this listener assertion will execute last. So we have to write before the extractor. Kind of we have to check and write the logic there. Okay, it's clear, right? So you should remember easily LCT, L logic controller, config element, timer, preprocessor, sampler, PAL, post processor, assertion, listeners. And apart from the test plan, test fragment, thread group. So whole JMeter depend on these components only. If you know each component and what is the purpose of this and how it will help us the project testing, so we'll simply like it's very easy to learn the JMeter. Okay. Hello.
Yeah. Is my voice audible?
Yeah. Now it's audible.
Okay.
It's clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take. Recording on pause chestuna. Okay. So ఇప్పుడు మనం ఒక్క కాంపోనెంట్ గురించి తెలుసుకుంటే హోల్ అప్లికేషన్ ఎలా చేయాలని తెలుసుకుంటాం. ఓకే. సో మనం ఫస్ట్ తెలుసుకునేది థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్. ఓకే, లెట్స్ సీ. సో ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎప్పుడైనా ఏం చేసాం రికార్డింగ్ లోని థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ మీదుగా టెస్ట్ ప్లాన్, టెస్ట్ గ్రూప్ పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం. సో బై డిఫాల్ట్ రికార్డింగ్ కొంటున్నాం కదా, థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ ఎందుకు పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం అంటే ఎక్కడైనా పెట్టుకోవచ్చు, బట్ డైరెక్ట్ అయిపోతుందని ఇంకా కంట్రోలర్ పెట్టుకుని అలా కాకుండా రెడీ పెట్టుకుంటున్నాం. సో అండ్ ఇంకోటి మీకు ఎంత చెప్పినట్టు శాంప్లర్స్ ఎప్పుడు థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ కే కనిపిస్తాయి, రిమైనింగ్ అనాలిసిటీస్ కానీ శాంప్లర్ మాత్రం అప్పుడే కనిపిస్తాయి. థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ కే కనిపిస్తుంది. రైట్ క్లిక్ థ్రెడ్ గ్రూప్ కొడితేనే, టెస్ట్ ప్లాన్ కొట్టినా ఏం కొట్టినా శాంప్లర్ కనిపించదు. షూర్. Right. So these samplers will be visible under only thread group. So whenever if you click on anywhere, samplers won't be available. So you should be adding a sampler under thread group only. So if you check this thread group, right, we have three components. The first component is the action to be taken, and second, two components. Second is thread properties. And if you check the before 5.4 version, right, this duration and startup is another third component. Okay, when recent versions, they measure it as this component only. So let's see one by one. So first we understand thread properties. So thread properties nothing but JMeter will use the system where it's running, right? It will use the memory from there on. Suppose, see, let's take this laptop RAM, no? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Where else the property? So if you check this, right, installed RAM is 8 GB. Okay, so in this RAM, currently if you check the 57% is already been using, and there is left around 43%. So the JMeter will create the users based on this available memory. Okay, suppose if you are giving like a 1 lakh users, no, it won't allow to run the script. System will hang, and your JMeter script will failing, and all this will happen because there is no memory to create the users. So these thread properties or threads will depend on your memory. Okay, suppose you're running the same JMeter script 64 GB machine, right? It will support 1 lakh users. Whereas 8 GB or 4 GB, it will support around 10,000 or 5,000. Okay, so at that time, we'll get a socket closed error, out of memory error. Those errors will get. Those are not server errors, or system errors.
What type of error? Socket?
Socket closed, out of memory.
Closed. Okay, okay.
Yeah, like a Java not kind of those errors. These are like JMeter trying to allocate the memory, and memory is not having a system, so it can't able to create the user.
Okay.
If you run with 10, 100, right? This is like you available in memory. That's why you'll get a response. Okay, right. So right. Okay. So number of threads, number of users means how many users you want to run. If you give 2 or 10, what are the number, right? The whole script under thread group, it will repeat. Okay, if I give 10, right? If I have 100 APIs here, no, all 100 APIs will be executed by this 10 users. Okay, so users is like a real-time users, right? If you check real-time user, no, like independent. Suppose you can run at any time, I can run at any time. You could be very fast, I could be very slow. Like they are no independent. Same way here, the users are also independent.
Okay.
They are not listening to one to one. Okay, this user flow we can check here. How the users are being active or getting application using like this. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Let's see. Now, right. Okay. So let's give 2 only first as purpose. So if I run it, let's go to Visual Studio and click on clear and run. So 2 means what does it mean? I want to run my script with 2 users.
Yeah.
Right. So it will all the APIs will execute 2 times. You can see here, right? So home page on, 25, 25, 28, 29, 29, 30, 30. So how we will know which user is for which one? Just click on any API and you can check here thread group thread group 1. First one is the represent one thread group, first thread group. And second one is the right side, right? This represents the user. Suppose you click on 28 now, you can see 1, 2. It means first thread group, second user of the API. Okay, same as like for any API, we'll say 1, 2. First is second user. Okay, so now we have we have a lot of requests here, no? So everything should be double. So can we if I want to know how many total, right? I can't get the details. I need to calculate manually. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. If I know how many total requests being triggered, I don't know. So to know that, we have one more listener. Add listener resource table.
Yeah.
Which will help us give the total count, number of samples. So let's clear and run again. See, total trigger 22. It means we have 11 APIs. One user. So 2 users means 2. If I run with 5 minutes, it will record total trigger 55 APIs.
Okay.
Correct? Yeah. So now, how these users are responding. I mean, when to start, whether they want to start at same time, whether some gap or some time delay, how they will talk, right? So that decides this ramp up.
Could you please repeat, Ravi?
See, we have 2 users, or let's take a 5 users here. So how the 5 users want to run? I mean, one at the same time, or one by one, or like after two, after one. There could be some pattern, right? How they will start. So that pattern will decide by the ramp up.
Okay.
So ramp up is nothing but user to user gap.
Okay.
So how, suppose see, if I give here 10 seconds, it means my total users should be active on the server in 10 seconds. How many users we have? 5, right?
5.
So 10 by 5. What is the gap?
Okay.
2 seconds. So every 2 seconds, one user will be up.
Okay.
First user, gap of 2 seconds. Second user, gap of 2 seconds. Third, fourth, gap of 2 seconds. Fourth, 2 second gap. Fifth user.
Okay.
So let's see now. So clear it run. So total 5, right? 5 into 11, 55 should become, right? So if you observe here, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me delete the second run. Okay, let's clear and run so that you'll get 5 here. So we have 5 users, right? And right now 1, 2 means one user is done. One user is still active. Second user also came. Third user came. Fourth user came. And now they're reducing. So, right, like, because once the script is done, right, the user will be gone.
Okay.
See, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 means they are gradually increasing. Once user is, see, when third user come, right, first user might be done his job. So he will down. So now 3 came in 2. And again, fourth user will come at the time. No, 3 became 4. So like that, you will see the number. Because we have a lot of gap. Otherwise, if I give 1 second here, what does it mean? In 1 second, all users should be up and running.
In 1 second, all users should be
up and running. Up.
Okay.
It doesn't mean the script completion time. It means only users should be active and ready.
Okay.
Okay, now let's see. If I see 1 second 5 users, if you see, you'll see all 5 here. Because there is no gap. That's all 5 will be active and 5 will hit their application, they will get down.
Okay.
Okay. If 10 seconds means there's more gap, right? That's why you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 slowly. You can't see all 5. Means the all users can't be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Suppose.
Okay.
Now. So now tell me user to user gap. What is user to gap there?
10 seconds.
User to user gap is ramp up by number of threads. What is ramp up? 1 by 10 means 0.1 second. I mean, in 1 second, all 10 will be up.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what is the gap?
10 seconds.
10 seconds, 100 by 10. So after every user 10 second gap, then second user will go up. Correct. So in the 10 seconds, right? First 10 seconds, if first user is done, so JMeter won't do anything. It will wait for other user to come up. So at the time, you will see 0 here, 1, 0, 1 kind of, because it's completing less than 10 seconds. So it will be 0. And second user won't come until his time came.
Okay.
Got it, right? So if more users are using application, you will see 1, 2, 3 kind of. Otherwise, it will show 0 or 1.
Okay.
Okay. So generally, this ramp up, you will decide based on load modeling of your project or your real-time requirement. Suppose if you take IRCTs, right? In India, we have IRCTs, no? Let's take Tatkal tickets. So at exactly 10 p.m., everyone will come and book the ticket. Yeah. So in that case, you have to give 1 year because you want to load application at the same time. Okay, but generally, let's take Amazon. Mostly in the night, right? In the span of 3-4 hours, some 10 lakh users will come. Assume that slowly, based on their office times, based on the freeness, na. So then we'll give the load based on that time only.
Okay.
So you can configure whatever time you want to test with the application.
Okay.
Okay. So now clear, right? Difference between users and ramp up.
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah. Okay. Next, loop count. Loop count is nothing but for every single user, how many times you want to repeat the same test.
Okay.
Okay. So let's do with one. Let's give one here and we'll test. It means for every single user, this loop count, every single user, it will repeat this number of times. It will like repetition of the same test only.
Okay.
So after logout again, he will start home page, login page. We have given only one user and 2 times. So one user, you will repeat the 2 times. If you check here anywhere, you will see 1 only because there is no way represent the loop number.
Okay.
Login 28, 1 1, login is 28, 1 1. It's because it's first user only, na? That's why it is 1 1. So now, totally how many requests will, if I run the script now, totally how many APIs it will trigger?
Users will be 5, and we have to repeat the test for 3 times for same users. For those same 5 users, we have to repeat the test for 3 times.
So total how many times?
5 into 3, 15.
And how many APIs we have?
How many APIs?
We have 11 APIs, right? So total 15 into 11, it will hit it.
Okay.
Correct? Because this count is reference for single user, not all users. So one user 3 times for 5 users, 15. So 15 will hit this third group.
Yeah.
In the third group, we have 11. So 15 into 11.
Okay.
It's clear, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's do a small thing. We'll give 2 here and we'll see. We'll take Visual Stable so that we'll understand easily. So totally how many will come? Tell me the number now.
Here we have 2 into 3, 15 into 11. 15 into 11.
2 into 3.
2 into 3, 6. 66 into... we need to get.
So you'll see 66. Got it right? 2 users 6 times, 3 times. So each user 3 times and same will repeat. Okay. So in the users, right? Then you will get a difference. If I give 1 here and 3 and or if I give 3 here and if it's 1, is it same?
Yes. I mean numbers. No,
numbers will same. No, apart from numbers. What is difference?
Here 3 users and the test should be repeat only 1 time.
But
3 into 1.
But 3? Count is same, no? So what is main difference?
Count is same.
Then? So 3 here, they will run parallelly. Users, right? They will run, but in the loop, it will execute only after first loop, then only go second loop. It's not parallel.
Okay.
See, once it's done with first set, then it will go second set. Okay. For single user, correct. Whereas numbers is a loop. Sorry, users. They will do parallelly. They're independent of each other. That's the main difference. Okay. So now, if you check infinity, right? What happened means it will keep on hitting the test unless you stop the script manually.
Okay.
Suppose you want to do a more load, like there is no particular count out there, but you want to keep on hitting the application to check how the application behaving, then we'll put a infinity. I'll give here based on the users, it will hit that much of users. Okay. It won't stop, it will keep on hitting the application. So you have to stop the test manually. Suppose you're running for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, right? So just we'll click on run, we'll go after 2 hour, 3 hour, we'll stop. Okay. Okay, infinity. Otherwise, you'll give the number. Otherwise, you get default 1. Okay? It's clear, right? These three are very important. Number of threads, ramp up, loop count.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Hmm.
So as we do load test, right? So what happens? We want to know, we want to figure the issues before for unit production. Correct. So
Hmm.
as I mentioned earlier, right? There is if out of stock is there, or some data mismatch, if
Uh-huh.
something mismatch, right? So JMeter
Hmm.
doesn't know those. Whatever record, it will run it, irrespective of
Okay.
any case. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And same time, like some correlation is missed. So what happens? Even though 28 is failed, it will keep on hitting all other APIs. Correct. The next one. So ever the unnecessary error percentage is increasing, right? It's not like
Yeah.
application error, it's not server error. It's due to our scripting error.
Hmm.
So we don't have to count that while submitting report to client, right? We should say errors about server side or load side, not our scripting side.
Okay.
This will mislead, right? We don't know the error is related to server or related to correlation or scripting.
Hmm.
So in that cases, like whenever there are important cases, or sometimes it's okay based on your client or project, right? If sometimes
Hmm.
like very important or very like a banking or project side, they want to be more
Hmm.
careful, then they want to avoid the unnecessary errors. They want to know real errors only.
Okay.
So in that case, we can use this first option. Action to be taken after a sampler error. What is sampler?
Sampler means a place where
Our API.
uh,
So it means
API
if
store.
huh, so action to be taken
You can
after
check
a
all
sampler
APIs
error.
there.
Hmm.
Uh,
So it means whenever a API is getting failed, or what action to be taken.
okay.
That's what we require, right? Real time.
Hmm.
If my login is failed, I don't want to continue. If my product is not there, I don't want to continue.
Okay.
Okay. So this error will be controlled here. So now what I kept here by default, we have option of continue.
Oh, actually, okay.
Means whenever there is error, it will go for next step.
Mm.
So how JMeter will know error? If it is a green, right? JMeter won't, that is error. If there is suppose
Hmm.
let's put 25 as some unknown host, some dummy, wrong one.
Hmm.
Because we can't wait for error, right, to come the real time.
Yeah.
Due to the load. So
Hmm.
that's why I'm making some wrong request here.
Hmm.
So to mimic this scenario,
Hmm.
let's see. See, we got the error because of some says
Hmm.
unknown host accepted. That's why it became red now. Because
Yeah.
JMeter expected 200, it's not 200, right? Unknown
Hmm.
host. So now what happens? Even the error, it continues for next step.
Hmm.
So this time we are making a forcible error to demo these things. But in the
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
time, due to any circumstance, we got the error. This is the same way
Hmm.
behavior it will happen there.
Okay.
Okay, right. So now we kept as a continue, right? That's why it continue.
Hmm.
Suppose if I don't want to do that, I want to
Stop.
repeat the same test. If there's a happen, then you'll
Hmm.
go for start next thread loop.
Okay.
Start next thread loop means whenever there is error and if there is a
Hmm.
loop, then repeat it. Stop the test, the particular loop, and go with the next one. So
Okay.
let's see how it happens. Clear, run. See, stop. See, it
Hmm.
didn't
Hmm.
execute it. See,
Yeah.
because what we kept in, whenever error, by default, stop the existing flow and start next thread loop. And how many
Hmm.
loops we have?
Only one.
One. That's it. Stop. So let's go give
Hmm.
two here. And clear and run. See, one, two, first loop, and again second loop.
Hmm.
It didn't execute totally because it has a second loop. That's why it started again.
Hmm.
Again, it stopped of error, and there is no other loop, third loop. That's why it stopped
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Now,
Hmm.
same thing will happen for all users. If I give three, right? For every user, this
Hmm.
will happen.
Yeah.
And it will go for all other users as well.
Hmm.
So 1, 2, 1, 4 for every user. So let's see. This is the first user. Same first user, first second user, this one, third user, and their loops. 1, 2, second loops.
Okay.
Clear, right? Each user, same thing will happen. Every user, it stop the test, will go next loop. Same thing for all other users. Okay. It's clear now? Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I don't want to start the loop, I want to stop the particular user and stop thread.
Okay.
Stop thread means even though there is a loop, it won't start. It will stop the particular thread only. Let's see. See, even though we given two loops, right? It didn't execute. It executed only one time for each user.
Yeah.
Because it's stopping the particular user. Even though you have 100 loop, it won't go. Stop thread. One user, if you have any loop, when the error is detected, it will stop that particular user.
Okay.
It's clear? Stop thread.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, stop test.
Stop thread. Stop test is. Okay.
Sorry?
No, stop thread and stop test. Okay, if we have multiple threads, then it will stop the current user and continue to next user.
That particular user will stop. It won't control other users. Suppose we have 10 users running. Third user has the error. So one third user will stop. Others 9 will run.
Okay.
Stop thread.
Okay.
If 8 user has error, one 8 user will stop. Others will run.
Okay.
Okay. Next.
Okay.
Stop test. Means whenever there's error, it will stop whole test. Let's see.
Okay.
See what happens? Three users will there, right? All three will hit the home page one first, correct? So 1, 1, 1. So the first error detected the error because he executed first, no? So when he got the error, so others won't run it again because the whole test is stopped. Now there is no user, no loop, the whole test. At the same time, if I give a more ramp up, right? What will happen? Only one user will run because at the coming of second time, there is the error and it won't go for second user, correct? Because there is more gap. Correct. Let's see. In the earlier case, all three are hitting parallelly. That's why they got the error and they stopped the test. Right now, only one is running and it got the error, it stopped. It won't go for other users as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So stop thread means the particular user. Stop test means all users.
Yeah.
If the 10 users are running, if third user has error, it will stop all 10 users as well.
Okay.
Okay. Now stop test now. Stop test now means it's like an emergency. Whenever there is error, it will stop. But what is difference? Stop test now, right? So in the stop test, right? If 10 users are running. So at the time of error detection, no, others might be in the process. And they're waiting for the response, correct? So JMeter will wait to complete all the pending response, then it will stop it.
Okay.
The stop test now, it won't wait for pending. It will stop immediately. Force. So whenever if your script is running, if you stop immediately, right, forcefully, the existing pending transaction will make as error. See, home page 1, home page 1. See, socket close exception because JMeter closed forcefully.
Okay.
Because what happens, see, we three are running. Okay. So I got the error. So even though these two are in process, they are not waiting for response from server. But no, I have to stop immediately, abruptly. That's why we got the error. Because in one JMeter, if the script is running, when you click on stop force by any time in the running script, right, all the pending transactions will be made as errors.
Okay.
Okay. Clear, right? 5 options.
Yeah.
Continue. Irrespective of any case, it will go for next one. Start next thread loop. Whenever there is error, it will continue if the loop is there. Stop thread, the particular single user. Stop test, all users. Stop test now, all users without all pending transactions as a making the error.
Okay.
So now, see, now in this class you remembered and it's fine. After some days, right, if you want to try and you forget what is this thing concept and you don't have time to refer the video or the notes. So at that time, just click on Control H. The component whichever you want to know, right? Click on Control H. So it directly opens JMeter website and the particular location of the thread group. so that you'll simply recollect. Okay, what we discussed. So it's all the like theory only, and you can see here. See, continue, start at new, stop that. You simply remember, recollect.
Okay.
Suppose you want to
Okay.
know what variables you don't know, right? Just simply control H. So okay, this is a this, and what it is there.
Okay.
Like whenever we have our class is completely practical and that is completely theory. So just whenever you don't have much time, just go to that and you'll just simply recollect it.
Okay.
Okay, right. So now, so this 5 clear, right? So real generally we won't use this all the options, but it's based on completely project or requirement. Okay, now. So if I give here 10 users, okay, and if I give 1,000 users, what is the ramp up?
10 by 1,000.
10
by 1,000.
1,000 by 10. Ramp up by number of threads.
Okay, okay.
So 100 seconds.
Okay.
100 seconds, right? It means after first second, after a gap of 100 seconds, second user will start. Correct. And your script will take only 1 second. Correct. Okay. So assume that 9-10 seconds, the Zamat script will be in a halting stage. I mean, waiting stage. So assume that you are running in a very poor RAM system and a lot of applications are running and you know much RAM. So at that time, our RAM is very valuable, right? Memory. Because of running load test. So what JMeter do default, when you give it 10 or 100, whatever, right? At the time of starting the test, it will create the memory for all the threads and will readily available. Even though the user is not required at the time, it will keep the memory ready. So in our case, right, the second user or 10th user will come after 1,000 seconds. So till that time, we don't require memory. Even though first user comes in 1 second, that memory can be used for second or third also. But we don't have to block for a memory for all 10 users, correct? But yeah, so in that cases, we can use this option, delay thread creation until needed. Delay thread creation until needed. If you check this, whenever the memory is required, at that time it will create the thread. It won't create the starting of the test. So in this case, right, it will create only one user at that time. Second user at that time, third user at that time, not before starting of the test. So when you're doing a heavy test, right, you should use this option.
Okay.
Like 1 lakh, 2 lakh, or 50,000, 60,000, right? And you have like 4 GB, 8 GB machine. At the time, you should use this option.
Okay.
Okay. It's clear, right? Now, so this like I'm not sure about this option. This is a new. Okay, I'm not sure. Just check it later. It's not very good, man. Okay. Now, specify thread lifetime. So as I mentioned, right, I want to test for 2 hours. I want to test for 3 hours. So, or I want to do a night load test. So I will run the script and I'll go to home and after morning I want to do. So in these cases, we can't be in front of system, right, to stop it.
Yeah.
There could be some automatic option to stop the test. No, that's better. We'll know exactly. So at that time, we'll use these options. Duration, startup.
Okay.
Okay. So right now they're disabled, right? Now, if you check this option, this will be ended.
Okay.
Okay. So thread lifetime is how much time you want to run our script.
Okay.
Okay. So let's give duration means how long you want to run our script.
Okay.
Suppose if you give 5 years, right? So it means it will run 5 minutes or 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
So this will be affected only on few conditions. Suppose let's give here one. Okay, 1. So your script will execute only 1 second. So at that time it won't go for 5. See, generally your script will complete in 1 second. But you are giving duration 5. So at that time it won't work.
Okay.
Okay. Or if script is taking 10 seconds. And if giving 5, it won't work. This will work only in case of infinity as the best use case.
Okay.
It means whenever there is an infinite option, best use case will work in this section. Now, if you clear and run, So script will generally stop at 5 seconds exactly. Okay. Okay. Stop test now. Let's go. Couldn't continue. Okay. 3. You can see here the elapsed time 4, 5. This is script stop.
Yeah.
Because it is infinite, right? It keep on hitting. So to control, like suppose 1 hour you want to run, right? So we calculate 1 hour and 60 seconds and you'll do this. Or you want to run 8 hours or 1 day. Whatever the number you calculate seconds and put it infinity and then run it. See, this will work only if it can start. Otherwise, it won't work.
Okay.
Okay. Now, startup delay. Startup is nothing but with the some gap. If you want to run out script. Suppose see, suppose you are leaving office now. Okay. You want to run script in next 1 hour. So you can't for 1 hour, right? In office to start a script. So I will use this delay number and click on run button. So after the delay, script will start.
Yeah, okay.
So we give 5 seconds, right? So let's clear and run. See, even it run, you can see 0 by 0. After 5, delay after 5, it will start. See, now it started. Again, run for 5 seconds. Got it, right? Startup delay. So generally, this will happen, right? Whenever you want to any configuration or any other script dependencies, any DP configuration, right? So before starting that, it will do all the taker. Then you want to start that. So at that time, you can use a startup delay.
Okay.
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 Yep. So it's clear, right? Third group.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we have covered third group and the components and the correlation.